I was scrolling YouTube and stumbled on a clip of arm wrestling titan Levan the Georgian Hulk log pressing with Larry wheels. Now, looking at the arms and the hands of that 370-pound mountain of a man got my brain thinking, how scary would Levan be if he actually trained for Strongman? Today, we're going to put that question under the microscope. Now, Levan is the undisputed king of modern arm wrestling, undefeated since 2019, and has been the only person to sweep arm wrestling legend Devin Larratt. Now, he didn't even drop a single round when he did this, and when you look at Levan and you look at Devin, Devin clearly has this technical side of arm wrestling that I've been learning through Coach Laws, but Levan is just an absolute monster, and I'm going to show you all of his best feats of strength today and talk about how they might translate over to Strongman. Now, his hand strength is about 1,200 pounds of Newton force. This is 3 times the strength of an average man. So there are some pretty special things that Levan can do. Now, before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Moose Coaching. As you'll see, insane strength alone won't get you to your absolute pinnacle when it comes to moving weight, whatever that might be. In the link in the description and in the pinned comment, I've included my free resources, so go ahead and check those out if you're ready to let me help you on your path to being the strongest version of yourself. Levan dominates arm wrestling like nobody else right now. But raw strength is raw strength. No matter what you hand this guy, he's going to be relatively competent at being able to do things at a heavy weight, whether that's a log, a squat bar, a dip station, really anything. But today, we'll break down each lift, compare Levan's numbers to elite strongmen, and decide whether he missed his calling or whether he's found his home in arm wrestling and he's just particularly absurdly strong with arm wrestling movements and an absolute freak of nature. So, 370-pound Levan stepped into a workout with Larry Wheels for a full-blown log session, and this is the most direct comparison we have to see how Levan might be in Strongman. Now, as a spoiler, as we get into these strength feats, this is handedly the most confusing person I have ever analyzed when it comes to their physical capacity. So with this log press with Larry Wheels, Levan hits 291 pounds on his first kind of maximal lift attempt with Larry. And the hardest part for him was cleaning the log, as it is with most amateurs. But most amateurs would be struggling on a log clean around 220 pounds if you're very, very strong, or around 135 pounds if you're not that strong. And his leg drive was pretty surprising, to be honest. I thought he might be more of a strict log press guy, but he exploded up relatively well, thinking he might have some pretty decent leg strength as well. Then he increases the weight to 313 pounds. He misses it, resets, and he nails it on the second attempts. It didn't look like a strength problem. It looked like he was uncomfortable the whole time and awkward, as anyone is the first time with a log. This is a massive feat for the average man, and Levan breezes past it after just training to be an arm wrestler. In fact, this weight is more than the average man would be able to log press no matter how hard he trained for his entire life. If we compare this to elite level strongmen, the log press world record is slightly over 500 pounds, so he's giving up about 200 pounds, but good elite strongmen hit a minimum of about 400. A very good strongman, say myself, my maximum in competition is 470 pounds. So for 300 and change on your very first attempt, to think that he could be 400 and change is not crazy. He then follows with doing reps at 247 pounds, and he does 6 clean reps. But the nature by which he does these is very different. Now, he is surprisingly efficient leg drive, and he doesn't really have the log in a good rack position. As he goes rep over rep, the log seems to be sinking down his chest, where you get less and less leg drive, and he sort of just muscles it up without all that much consideration for technique. And to be fair, he probably doesn't know the perfect technique. It's only his first session. So the neuromuscular efficiency is there in a way, but still has a long way to go. He just needs event-specific volume, event-specific training, and that should blow the number out the water. But I want to highlight one thing that was not just the log press. After he did his 313-pound log press, the way that he put the log down was absurd. And these are the types of things that I'm looking for when I analyze how strong someone might be. With 313 pounds, he locks that log out, brings it down to his chest, it falls to his knees, but he's still holding it like it's this little child's toy, and then places it back down on the mat. Where even elite strongmen would lock the log out, might bring it down to the shoulders, but we would mostly just drop that down to the pad. This is partially because of injury consideration, partially because it's 300 pounds. And even 300 pounds, which is a relatively light log for a top-level strongman, is still a very heavy weight to be handling like he was. Now, this is a testament to his back strength and his hand strength, that this thing was clearly just a little toy, and he was clearly just uncomfortable when it came to actually executing the movements. I think the upside for Levan on something like a log press is absolutely massive. We go from his most impressive feat of strength to a completely different session where it's maybe his least impressive feat of strength. Moving to squats, which exposes almost everybody. 309 pounds move, but the knees cave, the torso dips, and there's clear quad dominant pattern, minimal hip drive. Most of the range of motion is coming from his ankles. And to be honest, he squats like a lot of professional team sport athletes that I've coached in the past who don't get under a barbell often. They're almost nervous to go down into full range of motion because they're going to lose their weight over their toes, they're going to lose their balance, and they're going to cause some sort of injury risk. They have no ability to open up their hips, to squat straight down, to use hamstrings, glutes, and spinal erectors to assist their quads and calves in lifting this weight. So he clearly doesn't practice squatting much. But he tries a PR attempt at 353 pounds. He does this with no belts and no sleeves. And he misses. He admits that this is his first leg session in a long time, and it's not really something he does on a regular basis. But for a man who is 375 pounds to get under a barbell that's 353 pounds and not be able to lift it, it's not something that you would think is ever going to become a natural strength. Leg strength is something that arm wrestlers obviously don't really need to work on to be great, but you would think that with his size, with his general strength, that some carryover would happen to squatting. It's possible that he just has no idea how to squat properly and he could blow past 500, 600, 700 with ease if he practiced. But when you look at him, he is so top heavy and very small on the bottom half in comparison to his top half. It makes sense why he can't squat a lot. The number of potential world's strongest man level competitors in one lift that fall apart often in others would blow you away. And it's looking like Levan would be just that. If the time was taken to teach him proper bracing, give him a periodized plan, and build his squat from the ground up, I'm sure this number would be something relatively good, especially compared to the average man. But I don't have confidence that it would get to the 800 plus pound range that it would need to be competitive at all on the world stage. Now, the video could end there. Levan could be a great presser, but not a great strongman. But this would sell him well short. Let's say he couldn't get a single point on deadlifts, or on squats, or on any other lower body tests of strength. How many could he pick up everywhere else? Let's look at some of his pure raw strength and talk about how that would translate to other strongman events and see, maybe he still could be one of the best strongmen in the world. His log press was incredibly impressive, but to me, it pales in comparison to this next lift. This might be the most impressive feat of strength, up with Eddie Hall's 500 kilo deadlift. Levan bicep curled 397 pounds. This was not clean, it was not pretty, but he got it from his waist to his shoulders with a supinated grip. This might make him the only person on planet Earth who could curl more than they could squat. With that bicep strength, with his obvious grip strength, Levan would be near untouchable on an arm-over-arm event. With a bit of technique and practice, he would be just as good at truck pull events as he would be at arm-over-arm for exactly the same reason. Add in his 400 pounds of body weight, and we're in a pretty strong spot. Now, I say his hands are strong, but how strong are his hands? I found one video where he was with the 172-pound Thomas Inch dumbbell, again with Larry wheels, and he picks this up like it's kind of a dumbbell to row. For most people, this is a feat of strength just to pick up off the ground, but it looks like he could have started doing reps, potentially even got that to his shoulder and pressed it out if he wanted to. So obviously his hands are off the charts, which if you look at them, there is no other option. They look like they are drawn out of a cartoon image. We then have a couple of bodyweight exercises. First up, his dips. He did 24 reps, again at 375 pounds bodyweight. Most humans would crumble at heavyweight dips and their shoulders would rip out at 375 pounds. Now, in strongman, dip strength isn't directly carried over to much, but the ability to move your body with speed and agility in a variety of ways is really important. As you can see, Levan has no issue moving his body with speed and with agility. There's a reasonable argument to say that this wouldn't translate to him running back and forth, but this is the closest thing we have to say, well, maybe he could. The next bodyweight exercise we have is with strict pull-ups. Again, at 170 kilos of body weight or 375 pounds, he does 6 strict pull-ups. For reference, Martin's Lisis has hit 10. I could hit 10, but for a guy his size, Martin's and I are much smaller than him, we're comparing to Eddie Hall, who could maybe do 2 or 3. We're comparing to Brian Shaw and Thor, who couldn't do a single strict pull-up. This puts Levan in elite territory overnight with his hand and back strength. Again, this is not a strongman event and not directly correlated to any strongman event, but it's a great indication that Levan might have more kinesthetic awareness and ability to move his body than the average large man. This is a great indication for loading races and for medleys. The last lift we'll analyze is bench press. He took 225 pounds for 35 reps, which is complete cardio for him. Then he did a quick double of 494 pounds, somewhere in the range of what his maximum would actually be. But without wrist wraps, without elbow sleeves, this is up there with the strongest of strongmen when it comes to bench pressing. So let's answer the question, how would he do in strongman? His overhead power is contest ready. He just needs a bit of technique work and he'll be well over 400 pounds on the log press, no questions asked. His lower body strength is undertrained, but does have massive upside. Upside that would put him on the world stage? Probably not. Pulling power, his grip strength, and his back strength are all off the charts, and probably higher than anything we currently see in strongman. His work capacity seems good, but will improve over time with a little bit of strongman training. Give him 6 months in a strongman camp, where he learns stones, yokes, and general lower body training, and he's a mid-pack guy at top-level shows, earning lots of points on grip and overhead events, holding his own on loading medleys and manhandling stones, and losing a lot of points on deadlifts and lower body tests of strength. Now, transferable strength is real. Master one strength sport and you are halfway to another. But halfway will not win world championships. I think Levan has found his home in arm wrestling, obviously, but what I would give to see him at a Hercules hold or a heavy arm over arm in a strongman show. I guess we will never get to see that unless Giants Live comes to the party and tries to get Levan to come do that iconic Hercules hold at Royal Albert Hall. Please drop in the comments if you want to see that happen, but it probably won't. If it does, it will be a special night in strongman, but maybe it will just be fantasy. If you want me to coach Levan through an 8-week strongman crash course, or if you want a deep dive for any other crossover athlete, go ahead, subscribe, like the video, and drop in the comment who you think you would like to see me analyze to see how they would do in strongman as well. As always, lift heavy, be kind. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.